Hi, good afternoon. I'm Cindy Hodnett with International Market Centers. We'd like to welcome all our viewers to our presentation about what consumers want. We are delighted to have with us today Anne-Marie Earle, Managing Editor for I always say GDA, so Gifts and Decorative Accessories. Anne-Marie, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It is a mouthful.
GDA. Today our goal, we have several goals. We want to let folks know what you guys are hearing on your end about what's happening in the gift category, and also give them a little bit of, forward look to what they can expect for the rest of 2020. So to kick things off, tell us a little bit about what you're hearing from gift retailers right now, and all of the, contacts that you guys have.
Sure, yeah. So, it really depends on where they are in the country. In New York, it's just starting to open up and COVID numbers are down, so they're starting to open their doors. And it's still a little bit quiet, but it is starting to pick up the pace in terms of, people coming into brick and mortar stores. A lot of people are still ordering curbside, which is good. Good that we're adapting. But in other parts of the country, it's as business as usual. Nothing has really changed much. In the Midwest, the COVID numbers are still really low. So they're kind of just living their lives like normal. And then, depending on where you are, there are some areas that are a little bit more, full of COVID. So their stores are still closed. So it really depends on where they are.
And, we'll talk a little bit more about specifics, delving into product a little bit later on in the presentation. But, what kind of shifts in consumer buying patterns have you guys seen so far in the gift category?
Well, there's been a huge shift. People are, buying less fashion, at least the bottom half. And I think, people are starting to really embrace being home, and they're starting to buy, or they have been buying things to occupy their children because they're also at home. And they're also trying to make their homes as cozy and comfortable as possible, especially since there's nowhere to go. They're trying to refresh the space and, give it some new life.
Yeah, and have you guys noticed any differences regionally across the country with regard to what's kind of happening on the consumer end?
Yeah, I think, depending again on where they are, masks have been enormous, and hand sanitizers, obviously, that are healthy and don't have all the parabens, the sulfates, and the really strong alcohols. A lot of those things have been purchased. I think, some places are not really buying a whole lot of masks right now, but then there are others where, gift industry veterans and titans have come together and shifted gears in what they're producing to produce these really beautiful masks for people so that they can still feel fashionable and pretty. And I've also seen, a lot of rise in trying to have a dual purpose. So, people have limited spaces. We've always known that, especially in tabletop, a lot of people are trying to use, buy pieces that also double as decor, like beautiful serveware pieces. They're doing that, but they're also trying to find items that serve two purposes like storage, but also make it pretty, or things like that. So those items are really starting to pick up speed, I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we've talked about really on the home furnishing side, of course, the reemergence of like dining areas and home offices and the sort of the home furnishings that correspond with that. Delving into the gift category, what are some of the subcategories like within gifts that you've noticed big product differences in, or emerging must-have kind of items?
So gourmet has really exploded. I think banana bread was having a moment and some homemade crusty breads. People are really starting to embrace the idea of getting their hands into something and creating something at home from start to finish from scratch that they might not have ever done before, just to kind of give them a sense of accomplishment. In Gifts and Deck, we had a story back in February about the joys of baking and how, really just creating something from nothing can change your entire perspective and change your mood and elevate your mood and make you feel this sense of accomplishment. And consumers really do try to embrace that. So I think that's just been a really big thing. So, rolling pins are coming up again, lots of cutting boards and other just gadgets in the kitchen to help people to create something and to cook at home since they can't really go out.
Right. Now I know when we were, talking a little bit earlier this week, we were delving into some of the other categories as well. For example, toys or, health and wellness, home sort of spa. Talk about some of the products in each of those areas that you feel like will really remain very important for the remainder of 2020.
So parents have just really noticed that their kids need entertaining instead of just staring at a screen, especially with so many doing at-home learning this year coming up. I think some schools have already started. The kids are staring at screens for a long time. And so instead of coming home from school and then watching TV, they're trying to find things that they can do that are still educational but fun. So from the start of this, DIY craft kits have been just enormous, like jewelry making kits for tweens, different fashion items that they could be making. Lots of kinetic sand has been really exciting, sensory products for, anyone but autism, certainly benefits from things like that, kids with autism. There's also, little games that families can play together to sort of bond during this time when it can be stressful. It gives them time away. Classic games have really seen a huge surge because parents who grew up in the 80s and 90s are now wanting to relive their childhoods through their kids. So they're buying those kinds of items to remind them and sort of share those memories with them. So definitely things to occupy your kids, that's not going to go away. That's going to continue. I think, especially throughout the school year, if schools close again for whatever reason, parents are going to want to keep their hands occupied instead of, making a mess or doing what my kids do and saying, what can we do? That's a big question in my house.
And that actually it segues quite nicely into another category, which is sort of this like, everyone's spending more time at home probably. And there's research that shows that there's more discretionary income since folks aren't traveling as much. So they're kind of pampering themselves at home. And I know we were talking about a couple of the sort of international concepts that are being embraced right now and some of the products that correspond with that. So talk a little bit about what people are doing to pamper themselves.
Yes, so at-home spas. I myself did this very thing as soon as this happened. I started organizing all of my beauty products and bath and body products to make myself feel like I had a little retreat, and lots of people are doing the same thing. So they're finding, scrubs, bath bombs, shower bursts, hair masks. Who has time for a hair mask? All of us now. So we're all doing that, face masks. I do 2 a week at least. I'm sure that I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. So people are trying to make this really nice at-home spa experience. Brand new fluffy towels have really seen a rise. Cushy bathrobes, nice warm slippers, things that make someone feel pampered at home. So, trying to keep organized, clean, relaxing. Essential oils have been big. Essential oil diffusers for lavender, rosemary, eucalyptus, and CBD oils have really been very big, just to have this overall holistic wellness feeling. So it's a nice time for self-care, I think.
Yeah, I know you guys, I think a while back did a feature on gifts that inspire joy, or, you know, gifts that are helping like people lift their mood during sort of these challenging times. So if we go household member by household member, just maybe let's do a stream of consciousness. First thing that pops in your head in the gift category for different members of the household. So let's kick it off maybe with dad. What would you say for dads?
So dads are trying to find, you know, their own little time away. So maybe some koozies or beverage holders, you know, for a socially distant hangout in the front yard. Those can certainly be, you know, a good idea. Football related items, anything to help him keep his fantasy football dreams alive. Or mine. I'm the queen of my fantasy football league. But those, you know, anything that reminds them that sports are around and that they always will be.
Absolutely.
So for dads, and also a lot of Bath and Body products for dads. You know, we just did a market daily for Atlanta, finding skincare products for men to make them feel comfortable and, you know, pampered a little bit. So that's definitely something to look for. You know, there are lots of different men's Bath and Body companies.
Yeah.
For mom, I would say, you know, again, the spa products are really nice. Anything cozy and warm. Candles can really transform a space. With scent, you can take yourself from, you know, North Carolina to Hawaii. You never know, you know. So just things that make them feel comfortable, pampered, cozy, comfortable, less stressed. And for kids, you know, things that can kind of occupy their time. Plushes are also really important right now because it gives them something to cozy up to and snuggle with.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Anything that makes them feel safe. You know, certain books have come out. We just recently published something on giftsanddeck.com about a woman who just published a book about face masks and how, you know, from now on in the US, you are going to see a percentage of the population wearing face masks, and not to be scared. And here's all the professions who use face masks regularly. So kind of normalizing that for children.
Wow. What about probably one of the toughest demographics to shop for, anything like for tweens or teens?
Yes, so they're going to want kits. They're going to want, I think Lawrence King, I think is who it is, had a fairy library making kit. So the book is this really beautiful book, and it opens up and you actually have to create, you have to cut out the pages of each tiny little book about this big, and you create this fairy library. It opens up and it just looks like a beautiful garden library for fairies. And
Oh,
it actually has words in it that talk about, you know, DIY, whatever, 101 fairy something. But it's just really, really cute, and just little kits like that to keep them, you know, their hands busy, occupied, something that's interesting and fun, and doesn't remind them of, you know, any stress that's happening around them.
oh, that's fantastic. You know, I think, you know, of course, we're all familiar with, you know, the challenges that retailers are facing this year. And, you know, I think one of the things GDA does so well is like offer strategies and, you know, helpful advice. You know, as we're headed into the holiday season, and, you know, looking at it being probably a very different type of holiday season. What are some of the strategies, or maybe even the upcoming research or features that you guys are going to include in the publication that retailers might want to make note of?
Sure, yeah. So the holidays actually in general are something I'm really excited about this year. Um, Mainly because everyone is kind of going back to what's traditional. So they're looking at classic things, retro things, things that remind them of their childhood and their warm and fuzzy feelings about the holidays. So we're looking at a lot of traditional reds and greens and whites. gold lights, things that are pretty, you know, in the past we've had like iridescence and really just playing completely different Christmas. This time people are really looking for that traditional feeling because it brings them comfort, I think, and it makes them remember a time that wasn't so scary. So I think, you know, retailers are already stocking up on traditional Christmas, and we had a few pages in our dailies about that for Atlanta. I'm sure that we're going to have something about that for Las Vegas. So I hope people look for those. Our first one went out today. But yeah, I think, you know, overall retailers, if they want to stay safe, play it safe this year, I think that that's totally acceptable and actually what they're looking for. In terms of helping sales, you know, a lot of things that are made in America are really important and easier to get right now than an import. So we have an upcoming story in our September-October issue. It comes out late September about Made in America products and locally sourced and environmentally friendly. That's the really great thing about Made in America is that it is more environmentally friendly because there's less of a carbon footprint to get it to where it's going. So that's one thing that people can certainly look for in our upcoming issue. I think also, sorry, my email just dinged and then it's like Pavlov's dog.
How we roll.
But yeah, I do think that, you know, for the holidays, certainly be flexible. You know, retailers have been flexible this entire time with, you know, buy online, pick up in store, curbside pickup. Social selling has really helped so many retailers. I really want them to keep embracing that. Even if your doors are open right now, please, please don't stop social selling because you don't know what's going to happen and you don't want to have to worry about your bottom line.
I would love to interrupt, pardon me, but I would love for those that might not be familiar with what you're referring to for social selling. Talk a little bit about how they can get started with that.
So if you don't have a Facebook page or an Instagram page, I think you definitely need to have one. They're free. You can reach your customers online that way very easily, and you can have sign up for targeted ads to find more customers that way, and Facebook makes it so easy to do this. So I certainly encourage that. Once you're on there, you can post, and not just necessarily product, it's usually good to show kind of your personality of your store, rather than just having, you know, a mugshot of a product and saying, here, do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy this? That's not really a great strategy, but once you have the product and you're excited about it and you show it on Facebook, people can buy it through comment sections or, you know, however you think it's easiest to organize that. People have been doing like Facebook live videos. They've done private tours through FaceTime if you want. Instagram stories are great to walk people through your store if they can't make it in. You can show them around, show them what's new, and then let them comment and say, hey, I want to buy that candle or, you know, whatever it is. So I think social selling is huge. It's so very important, especially right now. It's hard to get a website up fully with all of your product. That is a daunting task. And if you don't have it done now, you know, look into it, please start, but it's not going to be an overnight thing. But social selling can be an overnight thing.
Like an easier transition into that world, for sure. So again, I know you mentioned the Made in America, I guess, coming up in the September issue. Again, I want to go back to some of the research and some of the ongoing features that GDA offers that retailers who, for whatever reason, might not be familiar with you might benefit from knowing about.
Yes, so every December we have a trends and forecast survey, and that kind of pulls together all the research that we think is going to happen in the coming year. Our research team at Bridge Tower Media pulls it together for us with our help, and it tells you, you know, in candle scents, what is going to be the most popular candle scent, you know, in the coming year, that kind of thing. What kind of cards are people buying? You know, are they snarky? Are they sincere? What are they looking for? So all of that research is in the December issue. It's super important. People will love it. Gift book is also coming out in October, and gift book has a lot of research in there as well. So it's certainly an issue we encourage people to hang on to all year, just because it does have that information in it that, you know, you can pull from as, you know, your buying seasons change.
And tell people a little bit more about gift book as well.
So gift book is interesting. It's not our typical issue. The first portion of it, I think about a quarter of it, is all research. It's a gift book consumer survey that goes out, and we talk to consumers all over the country, and they kind of tell us what they're looking to buy from all gift categories, be it giftables, gourmet, stationery, candles, fashion, bath and body, all of it. And so they kind of let us know in those categories what they plan to buy, if they plan to buy it, what their price ranges are, all of that. And then the rest of it talks about trends that we're seeing throughout the year that we think are going to be huge next year. So we do write-ups on, you know, inspirational wall art and what's important there, and, you know, things like that.
Do you have any sneak peeks that you can share for 2021?
I wish, but we still have research out there.
Fair enough.
Research is complete.
Want to make sure we get the right one. No, I know I can tell we've got I think a few questions coming in, and Kim's going to help us out with that. But while we start looking into those, just remind people of how they can connect with GDA, the different ways that they can get in touch with your publication.
Yes, so giftsanddeck.com is our website, and you can find all the latest news there that we pull together. And then our Facebook is at Gifts and Deck Mag, and our Instagram and Twitter handles are at gifts_and_deck.
Great, good. And I'll mention to our viewers that post-seminar, we will be putting this up on our website, and we'll link to several of the articles and the research and the reports that you've mentioned online, so folks can take a look at that. And then I'm going to see, Kim, are we ready for questions now?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful.
One of the questions is, what are expectations for Christmas ornament sales this year?
Expectations meaning?
What do you believe is going to happen in the sales for ornaments, the Christmas category?
I think that there's still going to be, you know, I think that they're going to be fine. I think people are still going to be buying Christmas ornaments, especially since they're going to try to make holidays special at home. So they're going to try to buy, you know, decor, ornaments, everything to make it just feel warm and cozy. So I expect it to be, just as research suggests, traditional Christmas ornaments, lots of Santas, Christmas trees in the red truck, that kind of thing, snowmen. I think the traditional is going to be bigger. But yeah, I do think that Christmas holiday decor in general is going to be very well.
Anne-Marie, would it be accurate to say that maybe, you know, again, along with the traditional sort of label, that people are really looking for things that evoke a sense of nostalgia as well?
Absolutely. Retro in general is really, really big. That's what we've been seeing with market previews.
Okay. Kim, do we have another question?
Yes. What would be some suggestions for elderly gifts, for maybe those in the aging population?
Yes. So stationery sales, everyone is trying to get connected since we're all kind of apart right now. So stationery sales, card sales are big. Things that are really just sort of sentimental, like picture frames with, you know, their grandchildren in them, things like that. Maybe items that keep them feeling warm and cozy too. like warmies that you microwave. And do you know what I'm talking about? The brand warmies. You can microwave these lavender sachets and put them on your neck, or there's some slippers that have it in them, and it keeps them nice and warm. So this holiday season, that would be a really great one. It's actually on Oprah's favorite gifts last year, and it still continues to do very well. So I think, yeah, stationery sales, sentimental gifts, and things that make them feel cozy and pampered too.
What about for corporate gifts?
Corporate gifts. You know, I hadn't thought about it.
Would that tie in any way, perhaps with maybe gourmet or food?
Like chocolates and things.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was thinking, but we hadn't really done much research on it, so it's not really something I can fully speak on.
To always tie into eco-friendly as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I wish I had the research on that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. What is the title of the children's book that you were mentioning about masks?
I have it pulled up here. Let's see. It's called Let's Talk About Masks by Sarah Jo Walker. And she was a mom in Nashville, and she just published it.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome.
I want to go back to, can you say just a few words about the eco-friendly category? You know, I think we might have touched on it a little bit, but I know that was one of the things that you identified as well as very important to consumers this year.
Yeah, so I think, you know, we're all considering our carbon footprint right now, especially with us staying home. We're not driving as much. We're not blindly spending as much. So everything that we're looking to buy is meaningful, and people are concerned about the environment and concerned about global warming. So, you know, there's stationery with seeds in them so that when you're done with the card, you can plant it and then it sprouts a new plant. There's pencils that do the same thing. People are concerned about straws still, so silicone straws and metal straws have been important. Yeah, I mean, just items that are produced in a safe, effective manner. I think about a year ago, we had a tabletop feature on eco-friendly tabletop as well, and that still continues to be a concern.
Very good. Kim, did we have another question?
We had another. They asked, is there any research available now to look at trends as we put the final touches on holiday? So again, back to holiday 2020. And what are some of your favorite sources for trend research?
Sure. So we look at Mintel. We look at the National Retail Federation. We also look to trend experts like Tom Mirabile with Springboard Futures. I believe he has a webinar on his website about holiday trends upcoming, which I had watched, but I don't know what the concept of time is anymore.
Yeah.
So it must have been a few months ago that he had put on his website, and I believe it's still available. So I highly recommend people look at that, springboardfutures.com. Yeah, and then we have our own research team that puts things together, and I know that holiday is something that we are looking at that will be included in our gift book for October. And then, you know, looking at our Atlanta dailies, all of those product pages are market previews. So it's, if you can go to market, if you can't go to market, however you choose to shop, online or not, please look at those. There's also, there are a few showroom tours, like Sullivan's has a showroom tour, and Melrose International has a beautiful holiday showroom tour that I highly encourage people to look at and do. But Sullivan's also just recently did a consumer survey, which showed that, you know, people are really looking at home decor in a big, big way this year. So we're pulling sources from all over.
Yep,
Really
I love
are.
it. It's a good umbrella view of the category, I think, which is great.
That's our goal.
Yeah, well, we will definitely continue to stay in touch with you all and you know, make sure everyone is aware of the trends that are happening. We know the gift categories, you know, doing very well. So as we wrap up, are there any other things you would like to point out or mention about initiatives you guys have coming up on the horizon?
Well, so we just had our REAs, our Retailer Excellence Awards. So we have our winners listed on our website. And we also have several webinars where we talked to the finalists about the categories that they were in and their passions and why they're so excellent. So I highly recommend people go to giftsanddeck.com for that and keep checking our website. We've got news coming in every day. We're refreshing the website every day. Sign up for our newsletters, please, to stay in touch. And yeah, I think that's about it.
It's great information as everybody's headed, you know, into Atlanta, to Vegas, the different markets. So we appreciate your time. And, you know, if anyone has any additional questions, feel free to reach out. We'll make sure we try to track down answers for those. But then, you know, until then, Anne-Marie, as always, thank you so much for your input and for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Cindy. I really appreciate you having me.
Right. And that will be all for today. We look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. Thanks so much.